open the door and let him out. Which is, again, the dog didn't do anything.
Fucking insane. Those kids were on one.
Like, yo, really? The dog was innocent, all right? You don't mess with anyone's pets.
No.
And then that's pretty much the breaking point. After she finds her dog like that, she's not the same. And she really, really, at that point, believes that they are all dead and they need to repent. And and then we cut to the dad, or Grace's boyfriend, back at the apartment. He goes into the kid's room and he kind of sees they've laid out their plan in the cabin within that dollhouse in the room. And so he immediately, a light bulb clicks in his head and realizes that something's not right. Goes to the cabin right away. And then the first thing he sees when he walks in through the door is Grady's frozen body, the dog. So he knows something's not right, obviously. Starts to walk up the staircase and sees Grace. And she has this revolver that was put in the house or in the cabin for protection. And they foreshadow her being able to having know-how of firearms. Before the dad leaves, rewinding a little bit, he shows her how to use the gun, and she's like a crack shot. Like, she already knows what's up. So then, going back to on the staircase with them, she has the weapon out, and he is obviously trying to de-escalate the situation as much as he can. And she's not having it. Basically, she's like, we have to pay for our sins. Shoots him almost point blank in the head. He dies instantly. It's pretty fucked up. In front of the kids, no less. And there's a bunch of insert shots that really tell us that it was the kids who had set up everything. There's suspension bungees and a Bluetooth speaker in the attic that the camera kind of slowly zooms in on, that tells us that's how Aiden was able to pull off the kind of illusion of hanging himself.
Mm-hmm.
And the Bluetooth was how they were playing the weird kind of pasture stuff, whispering and everything. So by this point, the kids run out when they realize their dad is now dead. Try to get in the car and leave, and they get stuck in the snow. So then the film cuts again with them in the kitchen, again eating cold beans with their dead dad at the dinner table with them. And there's this really super kind of dreadful scene where everybody, including Grace, is sitting at the dinner table and she's singing this kind of old gospel a song, and then the kids start singing it too. And then she gets up once they're finished and puts the tape on their mouth with the words sin. And then the film kind of closes with a shot on the revolver, which, it doesn't tell us directly, but I think we're meant to take away from that she killed the kids too, probably herself. How do you say, so they could go to heaven, I suppose? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, and it's wild that, like I said, it just leads you to believe that something else is afoot, and it's not. And even up to the point where, I don't know about you, but me, I know, at the point where we see the dad back at the house and he's getting ready to go back to the cabin, to me, it felt like when he sees inside the little house, I was still thinking that there was something going on, like, you know, um, like with the mom, or like whoever was haunting them, because they obviously put that. I was thinking that it was some kind of spirit that did that to the little dollhouse. It didn't click to me until like the end. That was like, fuck, that was them planning everything. It's a crazy, crazy, crazy study too on grief. Like, everyone is grieving, and everyone's trying to get over things in their life that have terrible things in their life that have happened. And it, to me, my takeaway of it was, people deal with grief differently, and these kids dealt with it fucking in an insane way, trying to get back at the person who they thought was to blame for their mom unaliving herself.
When it's really their, of course, kids aren't going to see it that way because that's their father figure, but it was in my opinion, the dad's fault, because he could have had self-control.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily, you shouldn't cross those lines into, you're dating your former patient. It's kind of suspect, and then
Mm-hmm.
and then the way he goes about it, you could just tell that he's a selfish person when, Alicia Silverstone's character is, when the movie starts, she's taking the kids to see their father, and I think they ask, oh, is she going to be there too? And she goes, yes. So when they pull up, you see like the silhouette of a woman in the apartment or condo window. And then when they get up to the place, the father answers, and he's like, oh, don't worry, she's not here. And so Silverstone goes into the house, and then she looks out the window, and she sees that Grace is sneaking out through the back. So it's like, clearly the dad was like, oh yeah, you can't be here at this time, you gotta go. But he waited till the last minute, and it just seems so fucking weird. Like this whole thing is, he could have, if he had just been a more decent human, thinking about, having empathy for others. Even the way he tells Silverstone that they need to finalize their divorce so he can get married to this other woman. That's two big bombs that you're dropping on somebody who was obviously holding out hope, thinking that you guys were gonna rekindle something,
And he does it so, like you said, he just a dick move. He kind of drops both bombs at the same time, so like nonchalantly,
just to get it over, like just to be like, yeah.
And he calls her into the house because he says he wants to talk to her, and you think this big conversation is going to happen, and he just says what he says. Nah, we're gonna, we need to finalize the papers, and it's because we're getting married. Yeah, and then going back to that scene where she does unalive herself. We see her back at the house, and she's sitting there. You hear the TV, and she's drinking, I think, a glass of wine or something like that. And it's just very, it feels very real, and it's such a terrible scene because you feel how terrible she feels, and her pain, especially with the news she just got, and she just nonchalantly just pulls out a handgun out of her purse, and a split second, unalives herself. And she doesn't have much screen time, a couple minutes, I would say, but she definitely fucking kills it.
Especially having it this be her coming back after having not been around for a while.
Yeah, it's wild.
It's a really brave role, because it's, when we say Like, it's graphic. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Is there anything that you didn't like? Did you? What would you rate this?
So okay, so I think the one thing it's not that I didn't like it. I just like I'm a bigger fan of when I get like you know an ending, and they leave it very open ended. I mean, we can assume that she probably did what you said she was gonna do. Um, I think that would be my only thing I could say I didn't like. But if we're going out of 10, I'd give it like a solid 8.5, not almost 9. It's just like you said in your opening monologue. It's the best horror movie you've never heard of.
Yeah, it does so much with. Like, I can't even imagine this took that much to make.
Yeah.
Just, got to have some decent equipment and pay your actors, and the actors were all really, really sold their performances,
Mm-hmm.
Especially, we've talked about it before. If your kids aren't believable, then it really kind of takes away from the story you're trying to tell. But these two were fantastic.
What about you? What would your rating be? Or do you have something you didn't like?
My rating, I think I would go with you for an 8.5.
Mm-hmm.
It is, like you said at the beginning of the show, it is a bit of a slow burn, but I feel like the payoff is there, and it's to me, I feel like it really like is unpredictable, in the way that you're not really thinking it's gonna be like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or that these kids would be capable of something so horrendous,
Yeah.
Anything I didn't like? No, there's not too much. There's not too much. I'd probably say I could have. I feel like the movie could have used Silverstone a little more.
Yeah.
They write her off because, I mean, the what happens is centered around her character. She is, her motivations, the actions she creates the story that everything's centered around. So it would have been nice to get a little bit more time with her and for her to kind of show us how her chops are more so nowadays. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the only thing, is maybe Alicia Silverstone was a bit underused and it felt more like a cameo. I would have liked to have seen her, a little bit more screen time with her.
Yeah, definitely.
But definitely, yeah, very much a feel bad movie. This one is.
Yeah, definitely. Don't. If you're not in the right state of mind, try and stay away from it.
Yeah. Existential dread.
Yes.
But Ryan, is there anything? What are we going to talk about next week? You got a pick?
You can probably. Okay, so I think I told you a couple that I had in mind, but I thought about it, and I think we should tackle the fucking Exorcist.
Good pick, by the way.
Yes, yeah, dude. They're fucking. I mean, there might not be something better. Everything that happened around, making the movie, after making the movie, crazy, crazy stuff. So yeah, The Exorcist.
But you have to be prepared for me to just be everything you're going to ask me. I'm just going to respond, Dimmy. Dimmy, why you do this to me, Dimmy? Just so you know, just so you're aware.
All right.
I just want to say, if you're stumbling upon this podcast and are unaware of who we are or what exactly we're trying to do, we operate out of San Diego, California, and we are a movie review pop culture podcast. We release new content